Salam Radio. Salam Radio. 106.2 FM.
Good afternoon. You are with Mandy and Sue for Keep Women Talking, a show from Peterborough Women's Aid. Sue, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Yes, I'm good, thank you.
Good. Another couple of busy weeks we've had, haven't we?
We have had... it's always busy at Peterborough Women's Aid, isn't it?
It is. It is. It just seems constant, doesn't it? There's always something going on.
There is. Shall I talk through what's been happening?
Yes.
So I'm losing my voice a little bit. So, on the 8th of March, we had International Women's Day. So,
but we sort of ended up celebrating over about a week, didn't we?
We did, because we had Women Warriors. I think we did some International Women's Day stuff. And we partnered up with other organisations in Peterborough. So PCVS, which is Peterborough Community Voluntary Services, Rape Crisis, the Deaf Association, and lots of other kind of women's associations. And we went to Queensgate.
We did.
And someone from each organisation was interviewed about kind of what they do and how they support women. So that was really good fun. And the radio, not Salam, unfortunately. Maybe we can get Salam there next year. Peterborough Community Radio was there, and we did interviews. And then at the end of the afternoon, women were given the opportunity to walk the catwalk.
Yes. Mandy, did you walk the catwalk?
I ran the catwalk because I didn't want to walk it. Because I tell you what, I can talk about Peterborough Women's Aid, I can talk about domestic abuse and all this stuff, but when it comes to me personally putting myself out there, that's not...
And you did literally run up and back, didn't you?
I ran up and back because it's just not my kind of thing. But there were lots of lovely, beautiful women who were dressed up in cultural costumes and looked really glamorous, and they were strutting their stuff on the catwalk.
It was a lovely event, though, wasn't it? Because all those different organisations were able to share the support that they can offer different women within the community. Yeah.
So it was really, it was a really good, nice day celebrating being a woman. Other things we've done. So I know we've talked previously about our Women Warriors group, which is on a Tuesday. Tell us what goes on there, Sue.
So Women Warriors is a peer-to-peer support group. It's all about making friendships, supporting one another, and they do quite a lot of sessions around self-confidence, about being assertive, about having a positive mindset. Little bit of chair exercise thrown in, or a bit of mindfulness. It's just a really, really lovely group on a Tuesday morning at Anne's house on Cromwell Road.
And am I right in thinking it's open to any woman? You don't have to have accessed our services or
Absolutely.
anything.
Open to any woman, 10:30 until 12. Like I said, it's just there for people to be able to make friends.
Okay, cool. Now, I've asked you that because that group has been so successful.
It has. That's been running for about, 2.5 years now?
And I remember when we first started it, myself and the lady I work with that does it, it was me and her, and we'd advertised it all, on Facebook and whatever, and we were stood outside. We used to do it at the Baptist church. We were stood outside and we had all the refreshments out, all the stuff out, and we had one woman turn up. And we were like, oh no, this is going to be a disaster. But actually, weekly now, I think we have in between 15 and 20 women that come to the group.
It's just grown and grown and grown, which is amazing.
Yeah. And all down to the woman that runs it.
Absolutely.
Because she has
just about to say exactly the same thing.
She has a passion for doing this, doesn't she?
She does.
But because that is so successful, we have... we're doing it again, aren't we?
We are, with a slight twist.
We're doing it with aprons.
Yes. So more of
aprons.
An arts and crafts sort of session. Still very relaxed. You don't have to join in if you just want to come and have a drink or a biscuit.
Yeah.
There's normally biscuits or cakes at these occasions.
Yeah.
And that children are welcome as well. If you've got little dots at home, they're more than welcome. So that's more arts and crafts based.
Yeah. So they are both one's on a Tuesday, 10:30 till 12, and
then
the
arts and crafts one is on a Friday.
It's 10:30 till 12, and they are both at 32 to 34 Cromwell Road. You don't have to book to say you're coming. You literally can turn up, knock on the door, and you will be more than welcome. other things we've been doing. So we have been working with the Peterborough United Foundation. Sue, do you want to tell everyone what we've been doing?
So Peterborough United Foundation have set up a project to help children with behavioural difficulties or are particularly vulnerable or from deprived areas, and they offer football clubs basically. Various evenings during the week, various locations around Peterborough and the surrounding area. And alongside playing football, they offer some sort of educational information alongside. It's part of the grant that they were funded with. So we've been there last week raising a bit of awareness about abuse within relationships. Obviously the children that attend there are teenagers, so we're talking year 7 to year 11 on the whole, so just to give them a bit of an insight about healthy and unhealthy relationships.
Amazing. I know I went and did one Friday night, and all the young, it was just boys, so it was 7 to 11 years, school years, and they were super engaged.
Yeah, and I did the girls.
Yeah.
They have a separate girls on it earlier in the week, and then I think they have a couple of mixed sessions midweek as well, don't they? And that, but like you, really engaged and that really interested. And I think one of the interesting things that came out was the girls were all flabbergasted when we said this happens to boys as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What, boys as in boy victims?
Yes. Yeah. And that, I think the statistics, as we know, are 1 in 4 females over the age of 16, and it's 1 in 6 males. So it still happens to men, and even though it's not discussed quite as much, because obviously females are the main victims and the predominantly larger number of victims and that, but it still does happen to men.
Yeah. So lots of really good community work. We still have our charity pots going out there. If you look at our
I've had a couple
Facebook
more out
page,
this
we
week,
have.
haven't we?
There's lots of businesses in and around Peterborough that are taking our charity pots to raise money for us. We are trying to raise £50,000 this year because it's our 50th year. So if you have a business and you want to have one of our charity pots, please look on our website and it tells you how to get in touch. And obviously we're in the middle of Ramadan, and we have been so lucky that we've had some amazing, generous donations. So I want to shout, I want to shout out to Pack Foods and also iCare and the lovely Akil that works here at Salam Radio. And that's being able to provide food for our families who are vulnerable. And so, we're just really grateful that they've given us those lovely, kind donations and we can get it out to our vulnerable families.
And it does make such a difference. I handed one of those packages to a lady this week with 3 children, and she was just so appreciative that it had everything in there that she needed to get her through sort of the next few days before she got another money coming in.
Yeah, and we assume, don't we? We're in very privileged positions that I can go home and I've got food in my fridge and I've got heating, and then we've got so many clients that we work with that don't have that, don't have secure accommodation, literally live day to day, don't have food that they can cook for their children. And it's sad, isn't it, that's still going on in our world.
It is, and very often through no fault of their own. It's not necessarily down to budgeting. They may have had a one-off bill, the fridge is broken down and they've had to buy a new fridge that week.
Yeah. And I think that's
it's
just
those sort of costs that can have a massive impact, and they suddenly go, well, how am I going to feed myself and my children this week? How am I going to top up the meter and be able to heat my home?
Yeah, and that's why we're just really appreciative of these businesses and individuals that are supporting us with donations. Now we are celebrating Eid. We are celebrating Eid on Tuesday the 8th of March at our Women Warriors group.
Do you mean April?
I mean April, and that's a really good point because I've just put that out on Facebook and I've put March.
Have you? Oh dear.
Because I've got International Women's Day in my head. Remind me when we go back to the office to take that post down because it's wrong.
April, Mandy. April.
So please do join us. So we're celebrating Eid at Anne's house on Cromwell Road. We're going to have lots of food. We're going to have lots of fun. We're going to have celebrations. It's all free. It's open to all women and preschool children. So please come and join us. Okay, so we have a question of the week, and this is a super fun question. If you could have any animal as a pet, what would it be and why?
Now you're going to ask me, aren't you?
I'm going to ask you, what would it be and why?
So mine's quite random, I think. I love orangutans. I don't know why. I just find them really intriguing, and I think they're quite comical. And I just think I really like one as a pet to hold hands
Aren't
and
they
walk
quite
down
big?
the street. They do grow quite big, but especially the males.
I saw one in Colchester Zoo. It was huge.
Yeah, I think I'd need a much bigger house and garden.
You would.
I think they'd take up quite a lot of space. But yeah, I just think they'd be really sweet because they have sort of human qualities.
Oh, they do. I think they could actually like just be part of your family. They could like end up talking to you and getting dressed and all of that stuff.
It's like that old. Remember the old advert? Was it one of the tea bag companies that used chimpanzees? Was it
PG Tips? Yep.
They used to put them in clothes and
they
used to sit at the table and drink tea.
Slightly abusive now, I'm thinking.
Yes, I was going to say, wouldn't be acceptable in this day and age.
No.
For obvious reasons. So what pet would you like, Mandy, if you could have any animal in the entire world?
It would be my favourite animal, which is the elephant.
Well, you definitely need a bigger house and garden.
I would need a bigger house. I love elephants. On my bucket list is to see elephants in the wild at some point. And I just love how they look after their young.
Yeah, they do.
They literally.
Well, they all look after each other, don't they?
And they literally die for their baby elephants. Yeah. And I just like the whole. Oh, what was that? What was that cartoon when you were younger? Was it Bar the elephant?
Yeah, there was a Bar.
Was it Bar the elephant?
Yeah.
I love that cartoon as well.
Oh, it's like the Elmer books. I really like them.
Yeah. So, yeah, mine would be elephant. So we want to know, if you could have any animal as a pet, what would it be and why? So you can call us and tell us on 01733 602 133. You can text us on 074 11 191062, and you can comment on Facebook, YouTube, X or Twitch. Now, I still don't know what Twitch is. I say it every time we're here, but I have no idea. Is it like X?
I don't know. We need to look up that.
Yeah, we do. We could be famous on Twitch and we don't even know.
You never know.
You never know, do you? Okay, so this show we are talking about online safety. Now, this is this is massive, isn't it? It's a huge issue.
And can I just say before we start that Mandy and I are not technical. We're not experts.
No, we're not.
This is just our insights and what we've experienced through our work.
Yes, that's a really good caveat. So we're not tech experts. Please don't contact us and say, what should I do? Because we don't. But what we're going to be talking about is safety online for victims of domestic abuse. We're going to be talking about safety online for children, our experiences of working with kids and parents, and how you can keep safe online, and I suppose how important it is just to be aware.
I think it's so hard because everything develops so quickly and everything changes so quickly. And like when I was a child, we didn't have anything. So I remember mobile phones sort of coming into existence, and then obviously now you can access the internet on them, and there's all these social media apps. It is just...
It's crazy, isn't it?
It is crazy.
I remember when we first had the interweb. Do you remember that you had to like dial up?
Yes.
And that was like...
And then you had that horrible noise when it tried to connect.
Well, it was trying to connect. I don't know what it was trying to connect to, like from something to something.
You used to go through the phone line, didn't
And then I remember my first experience online on eBay. I put in a bid of £12,000 for a pair of jeans.
Oh dear.
And I was meant to be 12 and I didn't know what to do. I panicked.
You managed to get out of it, I
did manage to get out of it, but I had that moment of panic. And we only ever had the computer in the conservatory because the dial-up would only work in that part of the house.
You could go to work.
Yeah. So, let's talk about keeping safe online. And I believe Sue's going to ask me some questions.
So yeah, it's just things to think about when you're on devices in your home. So thinking about, do you run as the administrator on accounts? So are you the only person who has access to the account? Do you control the passwords, who access it, and things like that? So thinking about your passwords, Mandy, are all your passwords strong and unguessable?
I'm going to say no, they're not. They're all the same for
That's
pretty
not
much
good.
everything. I know, because I have trouble remembering stuff. And then I think I'll put my passwords in my notes section of my phone, but then sometimes I forget how to get the
But then if
password
someone
for that.
gets into
I
your
know,
phone,
I know.
they have the passwords to everything,
I know.
don't they? And it
Yeah.
makes it really, really hard.
Yeah.
And I think the recommendation, I can't remember where I read it, is 2 or 3 random words and then a random number afterwards.
Yes. And of course, this is really important. If we relate this back to domestic abuse, if your partner knows your passwords on your device or on your emails or on your bank account, you know, you are subject. Well, no, not you are subject, but he potentially has the ability to access those.
Yeah. And has the ability, possibly, if he's also got access to the linked email account, to then change the passwords so that you lose access to everything.
Yeah.
And then thinking about, like, if you've got a laptop and everything, have you got up-to-date security software? So things to prevent malware and spyware being added onto your devices.
No, I don't. We obviously do with our work laptops,
Yes.
don't we? They're like top secret. Not my home laptop. So why is that important when we're looking at this as being a victim of abuse?
Well, I think because you can send an email, for example, and clicking on that link can then upload something onto your device,
Okay.
which means that someone can see everything that you're doing on that device. So it might look at where you're searching on the internet, it might look at the sites that you visit, it might look at the social media that you're on and what you're posting.
And if you had this security malware, is that what it is?
I think that's what it is, or spyware.
Or spyware or whatever, that would prevent that from happening. People wouldn't be able
Yes.
to access and log on and see what you're doing.
By that means.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So going back to email accounts, sometimes you have to be really careful because you can log into email accounts automatically on a device. So making sure that no one else has access to that means that they don't have access to all your emails, and it might have access to various other accounts that you're using, like you were talking earlier about banking, or even shopping websites.
Because my emails, when I Face ID myself on my phone, there is no other security bit. Do you know what I mean? I Face ID and then I can press the app and my emails are there. So there's no... I know what the word... No, this is a technical word. There is no two-factor authentication. There is no two-factor authentication, which there should be, because we do know, obviously, all of our work stuff is super secure, isn't it? And so we go all through this. And it's interesting, isn't it, that we do all this with our work stuff because we're holding private information about clients and the work that we're doing. But if you look at it at home, I'm doing the same. I've got all my personal information on my emails. I've got all my children's, my partner, but I'm not really protecting it.
And how often do you change your password?
Only when I'm prompted to.
Yes.
Yeah.
So at my home, I think I've had the same password for my email for probably the last 20 years, which is really bad. And I can't imagine... I imagine there's a lot of people out there that
are the same.
Are in the same situation.
Yeah.
Because I just log on because it's all automatic.
Yeah.
And don't think about changing my password, I suppose, unless you've been hacked or someone's had access that shouldn't have it. So anyway, going back to people who are victims of domestic abuse, when people have left their partner, we very often recommend that they either change their passwords or even set up brand new accounts to ensure that no one else has access to them, and sometimes so that they can't be traced. So, for example, on social media, we might recommend opening an account in a false name or a slightly adjusted name, such as first name and middle name rather than surname, to try and minimise those risks of being tracked down.
And a lot of people do that generally, don't they? I know a lot of people that work in the public sector who don't have their actual name on their social media accounts, because it does leave you vulnerable, doesn't it? If you're, I don't know, for example, if you're a police officer, potentially you wouldn't have your real name on social media, which is sad, really, because it's a reflection of where we are in society. But it is about keeping yourself safe. So with victims of abuse, again, it frustrates me that they have to make these adjustments, and it's not the perpetrator, it's the victim that is saying, I can't even be out there on social media because it's too dangerous.
And some of our clients just stop social media completely because they feel so vulnerable. They just stop going on it, and that limits the contact that they can have with friends, the contact that they might have, with the wider community.
And it's support, isn't it? There's lots of Facebook groups out there, and there's a really good one for Peterborough Women's Network, that I go on loads and look at, and there's people asking for support, or they've got ideas, or this kind of stuff. So it feels like a community. So by not being able to go on social media, it's really isolating, isn't it?
It can be, yeah, definitely. And then I think there's a lot around sharing information. So if your children are in school or college, if you go on a website and you give them your personal information, very often there's then a box saying, are we able to share this information?
Oh, yes.
So I think, if you've left someone because they've been abusive, and you've got children that aren't necessarily theirs, being able to say to a school, please don't put my child's photo on your social media accounts. Please don't share my information with my ex-partner. We're no longer together. They have no rights over the child. Is really, really important.
It's hard, isn't it? I mean, because I was just thinking, this was quite a while ago, but we had an incident with a client who did exactly that, told the school not to share her details or anything like that. But the people that did school dinners were an independent catering company.
Right.
And because this child was getting free school dinners, that child's information was passed to that independent catering company, who then had access to all the information and knew the perpetrator.
Yeah, you have to be
it's
so
things like
careful.
that, isn't it, that you don't think about.
Yeah.
And it's really important to tick that box saying, do not share my contact details with anybody.
Yeah, because that then gives you the right to complain
Yes,
should anything happen.
Yep.
And things like your phone number. You use your phone number for so much these days. And sometimes you just put it in, don't you, without even thinking about why you're putting it in, and then you end up with loads of dodgy text messages.
Well, I had a WhatsApp request over the weekend from someone in America starting a study group.
Oh, right.
Would I like to join their study group?
Yeah. I mean, you already get spam messages anyway, don't you? I think everyone gets them either via social media or something. And I think it's just having that at the back of your mind all the time to think, is this real? Is this genuine?
Yeah.
And I think, even if you consider online dating, I think the statistics show that 1/3 of people on online dating aren't actually representing their true self.
Wow, that's scary, isn't it?
It is. I can't remember where I got that statistic from, but it's a scary thought that actually there's that number of people that aren't being their real self online.
And online dating, a lot of people meet via online dating now, don't they? So I think it's a brilliant resource because you get to meet people that are, hopefully, if they're not lying, are like-minded to you, have the same interests and all of that stuff. Who you perhaps
wouldn't meet on a day-to-day basis in your normal day-to-day life.
So I think it's amazing, but we also know that online dating can be
could be extremely dangerous because you have to take precautions if you're meeting people for dates, for example.
Yep. And I was going to say it can be a platform for perpetrators to target victims.
Yes. Yeah.
So we just have to bear that in mind. But you're right in terms of online dating and all the stuff that you need to do around it. And it's really simple stuff, isn't it? Like if you're going on a date, make sure people know where you are.
Yeah, and make sure you go into a public place.
You've got a code word
Yeah.
that you can ring and get out of the situation. You've got your location settings on, or you've got
That's it.
something
So
on
someone
that your
knows
friends
where
can
you
see.
are, what you're going, where you're going.
Don't get in the car.
How long you're likely to be there for. Yeah, make your own way there
Yes.
and home again.
Yeah, definitely. So there's loads of, and I think you can go online and look on about safety advice with online dating, which again is a shame because it should be really exciting, shouldn't it? Like going on a date with somebody and then you have to think, oh.
That's it. I mean, and I've also had friends who have had friends sitting in the same cafe
Yes.
where they've been
Yes.
to visit.
Yes, which I think is really good, isn't
Yeah,
it? Right,
definitely.
okay, so we're talking about online safety and we're going to go to a short break and we'll be back with you in a moment.
Busy Bunnies Nurseries is where children grow and thrive. It's where your little ones will enjoy expert care, engaging activities and a warm, welcoming environment. Busy Bunnies Nurseries also provide great learning experiences in exceptional indoor and outdoor settings. So when looking for a loving, fun and safe place for your child, visit at 627 Lincoln Road, Peterborough, now with additional parking, or online at busybunniesnurseries.co.uk. Call 01733 897799 to book your visit today. Busy Bunnies Nurseries, where children hop into a brighter future.
Fancy the true taste of Middle Eastern Kurdish food? Asia Restaurant gives you the unique fusion of flavours from Turkey, Iraq, Syria and Iran. Eat in at 5 Fitzwilliam Street, Peterborough, PE1 2RU, or order through Just Eat or Uber Eats. There's 20% off throughout the rest of Ramadan if you order through our website, asiarestaurant.co.uk. Call us on 01733 562 530. Asia Restaurant, the true taste of the Middle East.
Moving house? Feeling overwhelmed? Boxes everywhere? Ivet Self Storage can help. Our secure, clean and modern facility, Peterborough's preferred choice, gives you the extra space you need with 24/7 security and easy access. So instead of tripping over boxes, store them with us and breathe easy. Visit Ivet, spelt IVATT, selfstorage.co.uk today. Because moving is hard enough.
At Master's Pharmacy, we put your health and convenience first. We offer free blood pressure checks and blister-packed medication. With our free same-day prescription delivery service, you can have your medication when you need it. We also offer travel vaccinations, including Hajj and Umrah, along with other services to meet all your pharmacy needs. For more information, contact Master's Pharmacy on 01733 567 208 or visit us at 303 Lincoln Road, PE1 2PH.
Award-winning ST Complete Care provide all kinds of regular and respite care for your loved ones. Rated good by the CQC and with outstanding reviews, ST Complete Care will tailor their services for children and adults, including helping with personal and home care, medication assistance, visits and appointments too. With bilingual carers, ST Complete Care are also experienced with disabilities, dementia, autism, Alzheimer's and more. To arrange your free assessment, call 01733 303300. Caring for you the way you want.
At Cake Inn, all our cakes and slices are freshly baked for that delicious taste. At Cake Inn, we bake 100% vegetarian and halal eggless fresh cream cakes. Delicious flavoured cakes for birthdays and weddings, ceremonies and all other occasions, with free customised messages, even balloons and candles too. Order for delivery or collection from Cake Inn, 489 Lincoln Road, PE1 2PE, and your cake could be ready within 2 hours. Find out more and order online at cakein.co.uk or call 01733 496 584.
Ramadan Mubarak.
Ramadan Mubarak.
Ramadan Mubarak. Ramadan Mubarak.
Throughout the holy month of Ramadan, more people than ever will be listening to Salam Radio. So there's never been a better time to advertise, to let people know about your products and services. Radio advertising is effective and affordable, and a great way to help support your local community radio station. For details, find Salam Radio across social media or email info@salamradio.co.uk.
Peterborough's community radio station, Salam Radio, 106.2 FM.
Good afternoon. You are listening to Keep Women Talking, a show from Peterborough Women's Aid. My name is Mandy. I'm your host, and my co-host today is Sue. Good afternoon, Sue.
Hello.
We have been talking about online safety, but we've got a bit of a fun question for you as well. So our question is, if you could have any animal as a pet, what would it be and why? So Sue has said an orangutan.
Yeah.
Because she likes them and she thinks they're human.
No, I said they had human-like qualities, not that I think they're human.
And I have said an elephant just because I just think they're beautiful and they protect their young.
And you need to buy a field.
I need to buy a field for my elephant. And we have had someone comment, or we had a text actually, saying, my perfect pet would be a giant panda. Oh, yes. Especially when they are babies. They're unbelievably clumsy, so it's unsurprising that they're almost extinct. Yes, it is actually.
They are very
super
clumsy, aren't they? But I imagine they're really quite cuddly as well.
Yeah, so let us know, what would be your... if you could have any animal as a pet, what would it be? So call us on 01733 602 133, text on 074 111 91062, or comment on our Facebook, YouTube or Twitch. So we are talking about online safety. And I said, actually, the first half of the show, I don't know what Twitch is. That's not being very online safe, is it? I'm advertising an app or something. I don't know what it is. So, Sue, you've got some more kind of facts and figures and stuff to talk about when it comes to online safety.
I was obviously looking into all this a little bit, and I found some research which Ofcom had done back in the end of November 2023, straight beginning of 2024. And they'd done quite a lot of research, and they found that 63% of UK internet users have said that they encountered potentially harmful content online in the past 4 weeks.
Wow.
So that's not ever, that's in the past 4 weeks.
Ooh. So 63% of us has come over harmful content.
Yeah. And it was saying, interestingly as well, that women are more negatively affected by hateful and trolling content, and women are disproportionately affected by certain kinds of online harms. Such as, do you want me to give you some examples?
Yes, I do.
Such as intimate image abuse, cyber flashing, which I'd never really thought of before. I didn't even know that was a thing.
What is cyber flashing? I've got something in my head and I hope it's not that.
Well, I'm guessing that is what it is.
So you literally stand in front of the laptop and flash your private areas?
Yes, I'm guessing that's what it is. And controlling and coercive behaviour. And in addition to that, women and girls from ethnic minority backgrounds are more at risk of experiencing online harm. So women and girls alone are disproportionately affected, but then women and girls from ethnic minority backgrounds are more at risk of experiencing online harm.
Okay. So we do know that women and girls generally are more likely to be trolled.
Yes.
On whatever. And trolling is just being not very nice to someone, isn't it? And putting them down and all of that stuff.
Putting comments online, negative comments online that are abusive. In whatever,
calling
for
names,
whatever reason,
commenting about body image, all of that kind of stuff. So we know that happens a lot more to women and girls than it does to men. But what you're also saying is that actually it affects women from minority communities
even more
than it would from white communities, which is really interesting.
Absolutely. So 16% of minority ethnic users have encountered hateful, offensive or discriminatory content compared to 11% of all internet users.
So we're looking at hateful content because of the colour of someone's skin, it sounds like to me.
Yeah. Or their background or their culture.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. It's quite scary, isn't it?
It is really scary if you think that the women and girls that we work with in Peterborough, the majority are from the South Asian community, aren't they? And that their children, their young girls, are more vulnerable to being abused online than any other.
Yeah. And interestingly, found during their research that women feel less able to have a voice and share opinions online, and I wonder if that's because
you get shouted down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of the response that they might receive.
I mean, if you look at all the hatred that Jess Phillips got, who is the safeguarding minister, when she commented on, I can't remember what she commented on now, but there was a lot of hate going around, and you look at, famous women that are online and have opinions, they're always being shouted down or trolled or whatever, and it doesn't happen so much with men.
No, I think,
it
like
just
you
doesn't.
say, I think people see that as well.
Yeah, they do.
On a day-to-day basis.
Before we go on to the next bit, someone has commented, I don't know who this is, but they sent a text saying their ideal pet is a monkey.
Aww.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
Hang out with your orangutan, couldn't it?
I don't know, they have those little tiny monkeys, aren't they? I can't remember what they're called, which are always quite fun. They're always zipping around when you go to the zoo and see them.
Well, we've got, so there is a monkey at it's not our local, we used to go to a zoo all of the time when all three boys were little, big boys were little, and there was a monkey there that my middle one named Chip Chippo. And every time we went, we had to go and see Chip Chippo.
Had to go and do a welfare check on how Chip Chippo's doing.
There was one time when Chip Chippo was not there.
Oh dear.
So we had to buy
Chippo no more.
Yeah, Chip Chippo no more. So we had to buy a cuddly toy of Chip Chippo, who, I'm going to say this, my 16-year-old boy still has in his bed.
He's not going to like you later.
He's not going to like me. He doesn't listen. It's fine.
Hopefully he's busy at college.
Yes.
We're going to move on to online. See, I can't speak now. It's my turn this week. Online safety in terms of being a parent.
Oh, don't. So this literally petrifies me.
It is awful, isn't it?
It is awful.
And knowing things like knowing what your children's passwords are or pins are for their phone.
Okay, so I know what my 9-year-old has an cheap version of an iPad.
Yes.
And I know his pin, so check.
Yeah.
Know that. I do not know the pin on my 16-year-old's phone.
And I think you do reach that point where you have to give them a degree of privacy.
Yes.
And that as they get older, like you, when my girls were very young, they had a tablet. It had parental controls on it.
Yeah.
I had access to what they could download. I controlled what they downloaded, and I could access the tablet and see what they'd been doing and where they'd been, although most of the time they had it when they were with me anyway. And that, so there's definitely reason to have those passwords and pins so that you can check what they're accessing.
Yes.
And parental controls are really good these days because they can control what they can download.
Yeah.
And I think it's really important. We've talked before about how communication in relationships, well, that goes as far as the parent and child relationship as well, and having those conversations about what they use it for, the amount of time they spend on it, what they're actually accessing.
So we at home with the smallest one, we have 2 days, so Tuesdays and Thursdays, he is not allowed on his PlayStation. Because he goes on his PlayStation to play Fortnite. He's addicted to Fortnite. If I hear, can I have some V-Bucks? Again, I don't know what I'm going to do. But he would play on Fortnite all of the time. So we have 2 days, Tuesdays and Thursdays, where he's not allowed on his PlayStation at all. Yeah. And that's actually worked quite well because he tells his friends, I am never going to be online on a Tuesday and Thursday. So don't ask me at school to go home and play because it's just not going to happen.
Yeah, and I think if your children know that you're on their tablet or on their phone and you've got access to it, you're going to go on there and check relatively regularly what they're accessing. I think they become more aware of what they're looking at.
Yes.
And more thoughtful about what they're looking at and more wary about what they're looking at. Because at the end of the day, we want to protect our children from the evils in the world out there.
We do. We do.
And that's one of the reasons that I always made sure that my children were always, when they were very young, were always in the vicinity that I was, so I could always see, because you never know, as as many precautions as you put in place, there's a lot of people out there who are very clever,
yes,
and find ways around them. And I think I don't go on TikTok, but I believe that once you go on one thing, it then follows over with loads
it's
and
like
loads
an
of
algorithm thing, isn't it?
different videos. They sort of follow on and follow on and follow on, and it's YouTube do a similar thing.
They do.
And I know I was working with a child once, and he loved Toy Story, and he would watch clips of the movie over and over and over again. But unfortunately, one day this clip fell into YouTube that was called Toy Story and started off as the film originally depicted, but the film had then been changed.
Oh.
And the content became very inappropriate for him. So you still have to be really, really cautious. What you think, may be an innocent search, and probably is, but there's still ways around it that people out there can do to make children see content that they shouldn't.
I mean, I have issues with YouTube. I'm just putting it out. This is my opinion only. But so my little one, who's 9, he goes on YouTube. He doesn't go on YouTube Kids because the content is too young for him.
Right.
So he goes on YouTube, and then we have the parental. I think it's like you can set an age of appropriateness. It's not under 18. I think it's under 15, under 13, under 12, whatever. So we set that up, but you then get pop-ups. So he will be watching whatever is appropriate on YouTube, and most of the time he's watching people play Fortnite, or he's watching football skills or something like that. But I was with him the other day, and I was watching it on TV, and there was a pop-up that came in the top right-hand corner about MMA fighting, and it was like press to play in 5 seconds or whatever, which he did, and then went on to show MMA fighting and a lot of swearing and a lot of this and a lot of that.
Yeah,
and I
so
was
even though he was originally watching something very appropriate, and this is my problem with it as well, is that, like you say, there's these little bits that suddenly pop up that aren't age appropriate.
I know. So it really worries me, and it also worries me playing, like I said, he plays Fortnite. It worries me how people he doesn't know can invite him to their party. Yeah. So he ends up we've been really strict and said we go in and say, like, who are these people on this party? Which of these are your friends from school?
Right.
And if there's someone he doesn't know, he has to leave the party. But it's so easy for anyone to invite him to play, who could be an adult, a child. You don't know who they are.
Misrepresenting themselves.
I think it's just super scary, isn't it?
It is.
And it's,
and there's a lot of clever people out there
and
that
if you
can find ways around things to get to your child.
And if you look at the children, particularly the children we work with, who are vulnerable, they've been through trauma, they've been through abuse, and then someone online is being really super nice to them.
Yeah. Shows them that attention.
Yeah.
And that interest in them.
Yep.
And children are naturally inquisitive as
They
well.
are.
So like you say, with your son and that pop-up, he was probably like, oh, what's this?
What's that? Yeah.
And then before you know it...
he's on another world of YouTube.
That's it. It is really, really scary. So, yeah, like I was saying, it's really important that you have these conversations with children. And technology is advancing all the time. Mm-hmm. And I think, I struggle to keep up with it. The children know an awful lot more than we do.
Well, I tell you what, the other night we were watching Netflix, and we went out to do something, and it went off, and then we had to log back on again. And all of a sudden, what we were watching was in Spanish.
Oh.
And I was like, oh, and I was fiddling around with it, subtitles, and then my partner was trying to figure it out, and then George came in, took the remote, pressed on something, and got it back to English without
a second thought. Yeah. That's it. Like I say, they know considerably more than what we do because they've grown up with it. It's been in their lives from day dot, and they just seem to be able to adapt as these new things arrive. I think it's important that children know where they can get help. Mm-hmm. So schools are obviously a great place and tend to be quite well informed about these things. There's also a helpline, a cyber helpline, which is www.thecyberhelpline.com, where you can get further advice on online safety if anyone wants any information and any help with anything that we've talked about. But yeah, keep that conversations going with your children, and even those embarrassing subjects. We know there's pornography online. It can be very easily accessed, and I think being open about these things and having those conversations that they may see things that they can't explain, they don't understand, is really, really important. And then you can protect them more from them.
So here's one for you, Sue. And again, I just want your opinion on this. At what age should a child get their own mobile phone?
Oh dear.
I know.
It's terrible. My girls had mobile phones when they went to secondary school, because at that point they were walking to and from school on their own. It was probably a 20-minute walk. So to enable them to contact me if there was a problem, or if they were going to be late, or if they were perhaps calling in at a friend's house on the way home, they could contact me and let me know. I personally have quite an issue with young children having a mobile phone with internet access, because I don't understand why a young child who's with you all the time would need to be able to message and text and all the rest of it.
So
that's just my personal opinion.
These are the conversations that are coming up more and more in our house, because little one is in year 5, so he'll be in year 6 and then he'll be off to secondary school. So with the big boys, it was exactly the same as you. You get a phone when you go to secondary school because you're making your own way there, or want to make sure you're safe or whatever. Some of our youngest friends who are younger than him have mobile phones. Not only do they have mobile phones, it's not like, I've run out, this is an old iPhone 1 or whatever. They actually have contracted mobile phones. And the other day,
like really new ones as
new
well,
iPhones.
which that's an awful lot of pressure for parents.
And then the other day, I was doing the school pickup, and there were a couple of boys that are the same age as George, who came out of school with music coming from one of those big boom boxes, and they were playing music from their phones, offensive music from their phones. Now these kids were 9 years old, and I was like, what? And they're taking their phones into school, but then there's a lot of pressure on parents like us that are saying, no, you're not having a mobile phone, you're not having a mobile, because everyone else seems to have a mobile phone. And
I think it's awful, because you then don't get that escape.
No.
You know, it sounds awful, but if you're in a situation where you're perhaps not happy at school because you're being bullied, and home is your safe place, you then can never escape that, because they've got means to have access to you via the social media or your phone by text message.
And Snapchat, we've talked about Snapchat, haven't we, in terms of, if you screenshot a message, the person that sent it to you knows you've screenshot it. So it's, all of that stuff. It's really dangerous, isn't it?
Yeah. We're going to quickly talk through love bombing.
We are. So we've done online safety, and like Sue said, if you want to know more about online safety, actually you can contact our helpline, and we can point you in the right direction. Our helpline is 01733 894 964. And we can give you some tips and stuff about online safety, and we can also direct you to specialist support when it comes to tech safety and online safety. But as part of today, we also wanted to talk to you about love bombing, because we are seeing more and more of this. So Sue's going to tell you exactly what it is, and then I'm going to talk about how the extreme consequences of love bombing. So Sue, what is love bombing?
So love bombing was a term that came about in the late 1990s, and it was used in terms of cults, and it was describing how cults groomed potential victims. And it was originally used to describe the tactics of a religious group called the Moonies, which came about in the 70s. And it's a technique that's been used to especially on very vulnerable people.
Okay.
And basically, it's extreme flattery. So pushing a relationship along really, really quickly, telling someone that you love them within a matter of days, that you're going to spend the rest of your life with them, shower you with compliments all the time, but to a point where it actually feels almost uncomfortable.
Okay.
Because, there's nothing wrong with me saying, Mandy, your hair looks lovely today.
Why, thank you.
But it's that constant flow of compliments. Even when you look your worst.
Okay.
And someone tells you that you look amazing today, and you're like, really? I know that's not quite right. And also things like trying to monopolise your time, so that they want to spend every minute of every day with you because they love you so much. They want to buy you gifts all the time. And it's not necessarily the little gifts. Like, we went out for the day, I bought you a fridge magnet.
Yeah.
This is, I've bought you this expensive watch.
Okay.
I've bought you this pair of Tiffany earrings. Those extreme gifts really, really early on in the relationship. And constant communication. So constantly messaging, constantly talking to you, constantly demanding your attention. And again, that will probably come with all the compliments. And the trouble is, when we talk about people who have been subjected to abuse, or people who are very vulnerable generally, a lot of people are desperate for love and attention. And if a perpetrator of abuse, can find someone who is in that vulnerable state, who may be at their lowest ebb, that is the time they will find you and throw this love bombing on you to get you into a relationship, get you isolated from friends and family. And that's where things then can start to go wrong.
Okay. So when do you think it turns from, it's the start of a relationship, he's just being really nice to me and buying me flowers and stuff, to, I suppose it's about the intention behind it?
Yeah, so it's when they quickly start talking about, I'm gonna, I love you so much, we're going to be together forever, I'm going to marry you, we're going to have children. It's all of that happens so quickly, and we're talking sometimes within weeks.
Okay, and like we go back to the online stuff, I'm guessing constant texting, that kind of thing. Where
Absolutely.
are you? I want to be with you. I love you.
Yeah. When can we move in together? Especially if you own your own home, can I move in with you? I love you. I want to be with you all the time.
And this is, I suppose, the intention behind it is to control the relationship and the victim and the speed of the relationship.
Yes. Yeah, because if they've suddenly got you sucked into this relationship, they've already got that control over you. So they've become this major part in your life and isolated you from everything else around you. And you may not have contact with friends and family because you're devoting all your time to that one person.
So if say I'm in a new relationship and I feel that this is happening, what should I do?
You can have a conversation to start off with.
Yeah.
It's okay to say, I need to slow down. This is going too fast.
This is a bit much for me. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
It's okay to say those things.
And if it continues?
If it continues...
Is that a red flag, do you think?
Yeah. For me, it would be. And, my husband told me that he loved me really early on in our relationship. I didn't reply to that.
But he was pleased.
Because I wasn't there. And that was okay.
Yep. Okay.
He was slightly older than me. He, had more experience than I had probably. And I just wasn't ready. And that's okay to sort of, wait and not feel that you have to respond.
And I suppose if you are experiencing all of this love bombing behaviours and you have that conversation with your partner saying, look, this is too fast, I don't really like this, I'm not enjoying this, and he doesn't change, that really is a red flag situation, isn't
Absolutely.
it? Absolutely.
Like you say, within a relationship, it's that communication that's really important. So if one partner's saying, hold on, we need to slow down a bit, the other person should accept that, understand that and acknowledge it and respect you as a person and slow down.
Okay. Interesting stuff. So today we have covered online safety for parents and online safety for victims of abuse. If you need more information on this, please do call or visit our website. Our number is 01733 894 964. We've talked about love bombing. If you're concerned that your relationship is unhealthy, again, please do reach out to us and we can offer you some support. We are super excited to be back in 2 weeks. And for now, please take care.